Hari Om. Let us chant the first 10 verses of chapter 9. Shri Bhagavanuvāca idam tu te guhyatamam pravakṣyamyanasūyave jnānam vijñāna sahitam yajñātvā mokṣyase shubhāt Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidamuttamam Pratyaksha Bhagamam Dharmyam Susukham Katumavyahyam Ashraddhadhana Purushaha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vatmani maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyakthamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha Nacha matstani bhutani pashya me yogamaishvaram bhuta brahna cha bhutastaha mamatma bhuta bhavanaha yata kashastito nityam vayus sarvatra gomahan Tata sarvāni bhūtāni mastāni tyupadhāraya sarva bhūtāni kaunteya prakritim yanti māmikām kalpakshaye punasthāni kalpādau visrajāmyaham Prakritim swamavashtabhya visrajami punah punaha bhutagramamimam kritsnam avasham prakritir vashat nacha mam tani kadmani nibhadnanti dhananjaya Udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam ketunanena kaunteya jagadviparivartate
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are starting from chapter 9 today. Chapter 9, called Raja Vidya Raja Guhya, isn't it? the yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. It is knowledge and it is secret, meaning secret knowledge. How can knowledge be secret? Anyway, we are going to see all that. So, if you remember from chapter 7 onwards, the highlight from chapter 7 to chapter 12, you should remember, the highlight is devotion. Actually, to say a devotion is not the right thing. Description of Brahman, God. It is description of God. So from 7 to 12, the subject matter is God. From chapter 3 to chapter 6, it is action. It is karma yoga and everything related to action. From chapter 7 to chapter 12, a sequence of thought flow. From chapter 13 to 18, another sequence. That's where you find from chapter 13 onwards, most of the chapters will have the title Vibhaga. Gunatraya Vibhaga, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga. Vibhaga means discrimination, segregating and analyzing. So from 13 to 18, there is a thought flow. So what is the flow from 7 to 12? 7 to 12, the flow is about Brahman, God. What he said in chapter 7 is what is going to happen in what he said in chapter 7 is what is going to happen in chapter 9 again. And why it is a kind of a repetition is because in chapter 8, he went through a different thought process. What was the thought process in chapter 8, which is so different from rest of the chapters? He spoke about Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti as in liberation in sequence. Right through Bhagavad Gita, Krishna maintains the stance of Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means liberation now. Also, there is another thought from the Upanishads, from the Vedas, what is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means liberation in sequence. So what we saw in Krama Mukti, the person has done all the necessary spiritual work, etc. When we say all the spiritual work he has done, what he has done, lot of punya karma he did. And because of the punya karma coupled with spiritual practices, he has to go to Brahmaloka. And in Brahmaloka, he will gain this Vedantic knowledge and attain moksha. That is Krama Mukti. Bypassing Brahmaloka, you gain Vedantic knowledge here and attain Mukti now. It is called Jivan Mukti. So Krama Mukti is an extra stop. It's a stopover, You go, stay in Brahmaloka for a while, and then in Brahmaloka, what will you do? Again, you have to gain this knowledge in Brahmaloka. You will gain this knowledge in Brahmaloka, and from there you attain moksha. Therefore, what is the method for moksha? What is the only way? What is the only method? What is the only way for moksha? The only way, the only method for moksha is knowledge. That is very clear. So, to establish that, he comes back to the 9th chapter, again, a kind of repetition of what is discussed in chapter 7. And then in 10 and 11, you will have another distinct thought flow. Chapter 7 and chapter 9, very similar. Chapter 8, distinctly different, Krama Mukti. Chapter 10 and 11, another different thought flow. What is the different thought flow in 10 and 11? Chapter 10 is Vibhuti Yoga. Chapter 11 is Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Both are about God only. What is the difference between Vibhuti and Vishwarupa Darshana? How you gradually mature in thinking. What is gradual maturity in thinking? First is, you don't see God anywhere. You don't see God anywhere. You see only Nama Rupa, and you get carried away by that Nama Rupa. You don't see God. From that, you mature to see God in all the good things of life. You see God. That is Vibhuti Yoga. So he takes up all the good things in life and says, this is God, this is God, this is God. But then you realize life is not only good things. What about the bad things about life? That he takes in 11th chapter and says, that is also God. Up to seeing God in good things, we all will agree with Krishna. The moment he comes to chapter 11, that Krishna is unacceptable. That Vedanta is difficult to digest. Why? Because whether it is good, whether the good things and bad things, both are God. Chapter 12, he says, even this good and bad also is part of the world. There is only God. That's how the growth, that's how the maturity happens in thinking. Again, I repeat. First, he talks about God. And when you talk about God, you have to talk about God with attributes. Technically, it is called Saguna Upasana. Saguna Upasana, Saguna Bhakti, Saguna Brahma. Saguna means with gunas. Sa plus guna equals Saguna. Sa means with. Guna means attributes. So, in the initial stages, everything is known only through attributes. Very difficult is to see attributelessness straight away. You see only the attributes. It means you are in the very initial stages of spiritual development. And what is the attribute made up of? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. We have seen that already. That's why this distinctions and all is very useful to understand. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. Name, form, property, action. So anything that has all these four is called Saguna. What is the definition of Saguna? Saguna means it is made up of Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. Nama means name. Rupa means form. Guna means property. Karma means action. You are able to identify the differences in the world based on these four classifications. So when we come into spirituality, what do? We give the same things to God also. So God also falls under the same category. What is the same category? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. So a God has a particular name. God has a particular form. God has a particular property, and God has a particular action. Are you able to follow? So God is given a name. And what is that name? It can be Krishna, it can be Rama, it can be Shiva, it can be Christ, it can be Muhammad. This is a name. So first is you have to give God a name. Having given a name, you have to give a rupa, form. What is the form? Whatever be that form is, isn't it? You will never find Rama in his marriage photograph also will look like a teenager. After coming back from forest also, he will look like a teenager. Even on his deathbed, he will look like a teenager. Have you ever seen Rama with a beard and old Rama dying? You cannot see. So, Nama, Rupa, form. And then comes Guna. What is the Guna? What is the property? Guna means what is the nature? What is the property? What is the property of God? Chapter 4, he said it. What is the property of God? protect the virtuous, and punish the protect the virtuous and punish the adharma. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Remember that verse? Very famous verse of Bhagavad Gita. So there you find what is the property of God and guna of God and karma of God. What is the guna of God? Dharma. That is the guna of God. And what is the karma of God? Sambhavami yuge yuge. Verses 7 and 8 of chapter 4. Remember that verses. So, in the initial stages, God will be seen with nama, rupa, guna, karma. It means a specific name, a specific form, a specific quality, and a specific action. From this understanding of God, you mature into the next level. What is the next level? God is not restricted only to one nama, rupa, guna, karma. Where all there is goodness, that is God. So, from one nama, rupa, guna, karma, the concept of God is becoming broader. And we should be able to appreciate and follow this line of thinking. So the concept of God is becoming broader from one nama, rupa, guna, karma to wherever there is good nama, rupa, guna, karma, that is God. That is Vibhuti Yoga in chapter 10. So he says, all the best and noblest things from the world he takes, and he says, this is me, this is me, this is me. But again, that is only one side of the story. If good things are him, bad things belongs to whom? Rakshasa, Satan, sir, where is the problem? So if good things are him, bad things belongs to Rakshasa, Satan. Okay, then comes the problem. Where did Satan come from? It means there are two parallel things always existing. What? God will exist. So there are two eternal principles. What are the two eternal principles? God as one eternal principle and Rakshasa as another eternal principle. And constantly they'll be fighting with one another. So sometimes God will win, or at least we are hoping God will win sometimes. But in reality, what are we seeing? Rakshasa is only winning all the time. So it becomes so from this we mature. What is the maturity? Whatever be it, good and bad in the world, that is God. So from specific nama, rupa, guna, karma to all the good nama, rupa, guna, karma to both good and bad is God. How do we understand both good and bad is God? If you see the rose plant, if the rose is God, thorn is also God. It's not only the rose is God and the thorn belongs to Satan, isn't it? To explain this, Vedanta comes up with a beautiful example of the mind. The good things and the bad things in the dream comes from one mind. It means what? What has happened at this point of time? At this point of time, you have reached a very high level of spiritual growth. What is a very high level of spiritual growth? You see the good and bad, and then you also understand it is divine. It's a very, very high state. People you may get one or two in your lifetime. If you meet one or two people who have attained this state, we are lucky. We can congratulate ourselves. And then comes the highest. The highest is what? Jivan Mukti. If this itself is so high, Jivan Mukti can be out of syllabus for us, isn't it? Why? Because you got to stretch it to accommodate both good and bad itself is divine is difficult. Now, how to accept? How to accept there is only divine. in chapter 7 to 12, where is he taking us? He's taking us from the Saguna to Nirguna. So the entire transformation from Saguna to Nirguna happens in chapter 7 to chapter 12. That is why in the Tattvamasi analysis, when we introduced chapter 7, we studied that. The first 6, the middle 6, and the last 6. So the middle 6 is talking about what? The middle 6 is talking about Tat, God. And what is God? God in the sense of God as in from Saguna to Nirguna. When the person is moving from Saguna to Nirguna, in 8th chapter, he took a detour. What is the detour he took in 8th chapter? He spoke about Krama Mukti there. Having spoken about Krama Mukti, Krishna wanted to come back to his original discussion. What is the discussion? Jivan Mukti. That is why in chapter 9, there is no Arjuna Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. He himself starts directly. There is no Arjuna's question. He himself starts directly. Why? Because he wants to come back to the classic Vedantic thought. What is the classic Vedantic thought? Jivan Mukti. And that Jivan Mukti is Rajavidya, Rajaguhya. It is royal knowledge and it is royal secret. This is the sequence of thought from chapter 7 to chapter 12. And you know where to position chapter 9 now. And then you will find, now we are entering chapter 9. You will find a lot of similarity between chapter 7 and chapter 9. In fact, if you remember chapter 7 very well, chapter 9 we can just read through. Because what he calls as Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti is what he is going to repeat here. But Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti and all we forgot, sir. Since Krishna knows we keep forgetting, he repeats the same thing. He picks it up all over again and start. And he calls this as Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. Royal knowledge and royal secret. Knowledge is Jnanam, secret is Vijnanam. All this when we start reading the verses, we'll be discussing all this in detail. I'm just only giving the introduction to the chapter, and then we'll go into the verses. We will read everything. Secret means very few are capable of understanding. Secret doesn't mean it should not be told. The English word secret, that's a problem with the English word. If you say secret in English word, it means it should not be, it should be kept as a secret and not told, isn't it? That's the English word. Here when he says, the Sanskrit word doesn't mean that. The Sanskrit word means what? Very few people are capable of understanding it. Who are the very few people? Amongst the thousands who listens to this, very few are capable of understanding this. In that sense, it's a secret. People misunderstanding this, they say, no, it should not be given to everybody. It is not, it can be given to everybody, but amongst those it is given to everybody, very few will be able to, amongst the thousands of listeners, one or two will be able to understand what is being said. In that sense, it is secret. So, it is royal knowledge and it is royal secret. In chapter 7 also he said, I will teach you, I will give you knowledge, I will give you wisdom. Again, even here he is saying, I will give you knowledge, I will give you wisdom. And we all understand knowledge only can be given. How can wisdom be given? Wisdom cannot be given. So jnanam is what is given. Vishesha jnanam is vijnanam. Vishesha jnanam means what you understand by it is vijnanam. So vijnanam is individual specific, jnanam is generalized. Are you able to follow? Venkatachalam. Jnanam is general. Vijnanam is how you understand it. And Krishna is saying, I will give you jnanam and I will make you to understand it rightly also. Because I am repeating it so many times, I am saying it from so many angles, you cannot escape me. Meaning, you can never develop a wrong understanding. It means he is saying you can never develop a wrong understanding. You cannot develop it. How you cannot develop a wrong understanding? He's saying, not only he's saying it again and again and again, he's saying it from different angles too. Some angles we may have a question. Most of the angles we may not even think that there is an angle possible like this, and still he does it. This is called Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. And then one of the important verses of Bhagavad Gita comes in this chapter. Verse number 22, chapter 9. What is known as the geometrical center. Ananya Sintayanto Mam Yajana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Even those who don't know Bhagavad Gita will know this verse, isn't it? There are 2-3 verses everybody knows, even though they don't know Bhagavad Gita. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That is one verse which everybody talks about, Karma Yoga. This is another verse everybody will talk about. What is this? Ananya Sintayanto Mam Yajana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Another verse which comes in this chapter. And then there is another verse. Verse 66, chapter 18. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhya Mokshayishyami Mashuchaha. Again, chapter 18, verse 66. Shankar, wouldn't it? Don't check all the verse numbers are correct or wrong. 1 or 2 numbers this side, that side it will go. Yeah. Again, don't check and yeah. Correct பண்றதுல இருக்கிற interest இருக்குதே. No. The joy in correcting the others. I'm speaking from the memory, 1 or 2 numbers will go here and there, that's all, isn't it? And I'm not having a reference book also in front of me to refer and to read. I'm sure you don't pick up all these habits from these people, huh? Yeah, all this Chennai people, they have all these habits. They will check and they have to certify, you know. Don't do all this. Wrong habits don't pick up from these people. So, chapter 18, verse 66. Famous verses. When we say famous verses, the message is so clearly conveyed directly. So, another important chapter, because another important verse comes in this chapter, the geometrical center, verse 22, chapter 9. Another short chapter, 34 verses only. It's not a big chapter. 34 verses only. Because we are heading to 2 big chapters, chapter 10 and chapter 11. Even though they are big chapters, we can go through it very fast. Because all the good things he's taking and saying, this is me, this is me, this is me. So Arjuna will ask a question. Now that you have told Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna Upasana is very difficult. You have to start with Saguna and come to Nirguna. You can't directly come to Nirguna. So from Saguna, you have to come to Nirguna. This is the sequence. Having told this is a sequence, Krishna, tell me where all I can see you in the world. Tell me where all I can see you. Pandavanam Dhananjayaha, he says. Amongst the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Amongst the Vrishnis, I am Krishna. Amongst the warriors, I am Rama. Amongst the seasons, I am whatever be that season. Amongst the bird, I am this. Amongst the horses, I am this. So what he is doing, he takes all the best. Whatever is inspiring you, whatever is motivating you, whatever is making you to get wonderstruck, know that it is me. That is Saguna. Are you all able to follow? Whatever is Ascharya, whatever is wonderment, whatever helps you to remember the divine, that is me. So what all will help people depending on the spiritual growth? So many things inspires so many, isn't it? Remember the sequence of inspiration from the sunset and sunrise to the Niagara Falls, to the peeling the banana, to the daffodils, to magic. Somewhere down the line, all human beings remember the divine. So easy to start with is what? Take all the good things and see it as God. Even though the temple in the dream is also from the same mind, the gutters in the dream is also from the same mind. You see a temple, a holy place in the dream, that is one ray of the mind. What is the gutter? Another ray of the same mind. That is a higher maturity. Then comes to say, there is only God. There is only divine. There is only God. The speaker is God. The listener is God. God listening to God, or God is talking to Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. That is why after, even if we don't do other things, eating we will do, no? Isn't it? Even when you go on a long tour, what you will be concerned about? Packing the food, isn't it? This is for breakfast, this is for snacks, this is for lunch, and this is for this. So at least one activity that you cannot stop is eating. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. Brahmagno Brahmana. So you say that prayer when you do that. Why? Because you understand the food is Brahman, the eater is Brahman, that which digesting is Brahman, everything is Brahman, Brahman. It means there is only divine. This is very nice to hear. This is so good to hear, and also makes us feel that how nice if we can understand it straight away. How nice it will be. I just open the eyes and I see divine everywhere. How nice it will be. I am also seeing it sometimes, sir, but not always. It's not that I don't see at all. I also see sometimes, but not always. That sometimes seeing God is your hallucination, is your imagination, is your hope, not the reality. Why? It has not gone through the proper study and understanding and everything. Only if you go through the proper sequence and understanding, it becomes a right thing. Therefore, what do you understand first? The first thing that you understand is God is seen with attributes. Saguna. That is Jnanam. And what is Vijnanam? That Saguna turns into Nirguna is Vijnanam. That Nirguna cannot be taught. Saguna can be taught. That is why God as in attributes can be taught. God is good. God is kind. That is one kind of attribute. Another kind of attribute is Nirguno, Nishkriyo, Nityo. That is also another, but both are attributes about God. Which this can be taught. What cannot be taught? what will be that experience that cannot be taught? What cannot be taught? That experience cannot be taught. And that experience is called Anubhava. That experience is called Anubhava. And even the word experience is a very poor word, because experience implies two. All experiences happens only in two. What you experience may be gross or subtle, but definitely there are two. A grosser experience as in the sensory perceptions, a subtler experience as in emotions, ideas, and ideologies. Correct? Are you able to follow? Experience means two things you can experience. You can experience something gross, you can experience something subtle. Gross means that which is perceptible to the senses. Subtle means it is not perceptible to the senses. That is why the division of human personality itself is gross body and subtle body. What is the definition of gross body? Gross body is that which others can see. Subtle body is that which you only know you have. That is the difference between gross and subtle. Because you have two kinds of experiences, gross and subtle. So based on the two kinds of experiences, gross and subtle, we say human being has two bodies. What are the two bodies? Gross body and the subtle body. What is the definition of gross? Anything that is perceptible by the senses is gross. All that is not perceivable by the senses, but you only know you have it is subtle. Is love seen? Love is felt. By whom? Love is not seen, correct? Gifting can be seen, but you can gift and not have any love at all, no? You can hug and still not have any love. You can marry and still not have any love. Isn't it? It means what? Is love seen? No. Love is felt, sir. By whom? By the lover, not by the beloved. That's why it is subtle. Are you able to follow? It means there is one kind of experience which is sensory experiences. There is another kind of experience which is subtler, emotion, thoughts, and ideas. And where does this experience of God come in here? Why Vedanta talks about all these kind of various experiences? Because is to say God doesn't come under any of this experience. It is not to say what is the experience of God. That cannot be told. All this analysis is done only to say God cannot be an experience. Therefore, Jnanam can be communicated. Vijnanam cannot be communicated. Jnanam is given. Vijnanam is your own. It's your own. That's why we say knowledge and wisdom. In English, in a very loose way, you can say Jnanam is knowledge, Vijnanam is wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is that which is unique to you, and only you know it, only you can understand it, and desperately you will want to share that with others, and you are so helpless because you cannot share it. Abada. Now only you are understanding our difficulty, sir. Desperately we want to share, and now we know why we are not able to share. Vijay, yeah, you don't do. Yeah. Why? Because for any anubhava, for any knowledge to happen, Punit, all this should have been learnt in kindergarten. Since we have not learnt all that and come to Brahman directly, Wherever you get a chance, we do kindergarten portion also. Before learning philosophy, these are all kindergarten portion. This is not philosophy. This is kindergarten. What is it? For any knowledge to happen, you need an instrument. Without an instrument, knowledge cannot happen. Correct? If you don't have the instrument of eye, the knowledge of color and form will not happen to you. Are you able to follow now? If you don't have the instrument ear, the knowledge of sound can never come. That is why we say there are some species who doesn't have ears at all. It means what? The phenomena of sound is out of syllabus for them, no? They don't know that there is this thing called sound at all. In the local language also they say, this species has one sense. Arivu means sense. This species has only one sense. This species have two senses. Some other species have three senses. And human being is supposed to have Arivu, they say. Arivu means 6. 5 plus 1. What is the plus 1? Buddhi. It has to be there. And the plus 1 vandadhan human being. If that plus 1 isn't there, which is the buddhi, it means it's not a human. It means for any knowledge to happen, you need to have a corresponding instrument. For without that instrument, a knowledge cannot take place. For the knowledge of God to take place, what instrument is required? Upanishads declare it very clearly. No instrument can yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Where words and buddhi fail to reach, it means, in a very loose way, we have to call it as anubhava, experience. In the stricter terms, you cannot call it as an experience either. When you call it as an experience, it is jnanam. When you say it cannot be called as an experience, it is vijnanam. I'm trying to distinguish between jnanam and vijnanam. Because he's using these two words. He's going to. And what is jnanam? Saguna attributes are jnanam. What is vijnanam? What all are told as attributes is not available for any instrument to know it is vijnana. Again, I repeat. What all is told as Brahman is jnanam. Where no instrument can reach that is vijnana. This jnanam is not a secret, vijnanam is a secret. That's why it's called Raja Vidya, Raja Bhukhya. Royal knowledge and royal secret. I'm saying the title rightly, no, Venkat, and the chapter dana padikirom. Yeah, suddenly I thought maybe I'll be reading some other chapter. Raja Vidya, Raja Bhukhya. The royal knowledge and the royal secret. 34 verses, almost a repetition of chapter 7 with only a few words changing. So when we start going into the verses, we'll keep doing the cross references. So that it's a very good revision. And then he will conclude and say, know me with attributes and also understand it as I'm attributeless. So know me with attributes and also understand me as attributeless. Then Arjuna says, again you are confusing me, Krishna. Why are you saying both? Say either you say you are attributes, it's easy. Either you say you are attributeless, again it is easy because I can take a stand, I can take a position. If you say I am both, what will I do? Gudakesha, he starts, chapter 10. Gudakesha means Isha means Lord, conqueror. Gudaka means Punit, you won't know, in the local Chennai language, they say Seriana Gudakupa, they'll say. And it's a pure Sanskrit word. Huh? Such a beautiful original Sanskrit word, and there's a Seriana Gudaku, they will say. Vijay, correct dana? Seriana Gudaku, they will say, no? Gudaku means what? Tungu Munji Nartho. Tungu Munji means all the time sleeping. Intellect is asleep all the time. That's what it means. Yeah. Gudakesha, wake up from sleep so that you are listening to what I am saying. And don't keep asking the same questions again and again. And don't keep asking the same question again and again and again. With attributes and without attributes. With attributes is Saguna. Without attributes is Nirguna. And then in chapter 12, he will ask the same question again. What is the same question? Now that you taught me everything, I am very clear. After what? Vishwarupa Darshan and all. After having Vishwarupa Darshan and all that, in chapter 12, he will ask this question. What should I do? Should I worship you with form or without form? He has enough patience. I tell you, how he's having so much of patience is a miracle. Listening, we are getting impatient, but that man is still, that patience. Again, he starts grades of bhakti, and then he, with the 35 qualities of a bhakta, tat is over. That one word tat is over. Tat tvam asi. That's the Mahavakya we are studying. So the tat gets over, 7 to 12. With this brief introduction, yeah, and people are complaining that your brief is not a brief at all, sir. Yeah, you say you are giving a brief introduction. So this time I decided, no, I will keep it as a very brief only. Yeah. We will move on to verse number 1. First verse. Padina.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yidam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshyam Yanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajnatva Mokshase Shubhat Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshyam Yanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajnatva Mokshase Shubhat.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Blessed Lord said, to you who does not cavil, verily I shall declare the greatest secret, knowledge, together with wisdom, which having known, you shall be free from evil. He starts very beautifully. The Bhagavan Uvacha, the Blessed Lord said, to you who does not cavil, anasuya, I will declare this knowledge. Greatest secret, knowledge, wisdom, which having known, you shall be free from evil. Now, what is so many words he is using in one verse itself? Anasuya is one word, knowledge is another word, wisdom is another word, evil is another word. These are all the important words that he is using in this verse. First thing is anasuya. What is Anasuya? It's a combination of two words. Asuya, non-Asuya becomes Anasuya. Asuya means what? Very loosely, the word Asuya will be translated as jealousy. Actually, that's not the meaning in this context. The meaning here is one who doesn't have the tendency of finding fault. You have a tendency of finding fault. Normally, human being has the tendency of finding fault. Anasuya is Shraddha. Understand like that, it becomes easy. Anasuya is Shraddha. So what he is saying is, since you have Shraddha, I am going to teach you. And why he is not using the word Shraddha and why he is using the word Anasuya? He is using the word Anasuya because he is talking about a very specific impediment. A specific impediment in learning is finding fault. But sir, we don't find fault and all, sir, we are seeing it. No. So now, from now on, I decided what all question Mala will ask, I'm going to ask that question and answer so that Mala will be free. Yeah. We are not finding fault, sir. Fault is there. No. What do we do? I am not finding. Finding means as though it is not there, we are saying. It is there. No. What do we do when it is there? Anasuya. What is then now? What is Anasuya now? What is this impediment? Finding fault is in relation to what? Finding fault is always in relation to your conditioning. So, you are not willing to learn, you are looking at knowledge must support your conditioning. When knowledge supports your conditioning, you will say correct. When knowledge doesn't support your conditioning, you will find fault. So, Anasuya means keep aside your conditioning and look at it. When you can keep aside your conditioning and look at it, you will understand how it is knowledge and how it is the secret. So, one of the important spiritual quality of a seeker is not to cavil. Again, cavil means you have to say finding fault. You find the knowledge faulty. What you will find fault? You will find the knowledge faulty. You will find the guru faulty. Two things you can find fault. Knowledge will look faulty because knowledge is a group of words. And obviously, every word you can, whatever word is said, you can keep arguing against that word. Because what is knowledge? It's only a group of words. Therefore, cavil is about two. What is about the two? You can find fault with the teaching, or you can find fault with the teacher. Sometimes both also, isn't it? Sometimes both. Teacher is sarilla, teaching is sarilla. Srikanth. Yeah. அது சண்டே மார்னிங் டீச்சர் தான் அது இல்லையா? இந்த சண்டே மார்னிங் டீச்சர் வந்து டீச்சரும் சரி கிடையாது, டீச்சிங்கும் சரி கிடையாது. அப்படின்னா what do you do? So, what is this finding fault? What is this cavilling here? You understand that all words will have a limitation and it will look faulty only. That is as far as the words are concerned. As far as the teacher is concerned, all teacher work through some instruments, and whatever comes out of that instrument will be limited, and you can find the fault with that also. Therefore, what is not cavilling? Not cavilling is understanding the limitation of the words and understanding the limitation of actions through the instruments. Where you can able to keep these two aside and look at the knowledge, you have Shraddha. This is called Shraddha. And then previous chapter he said, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The person of Shraddha alone gains knowledge. So, Anasuya. And this is not the first time he's talking about cavilling. Huh? In chapter 3 also he spoke about it. Chapter 9 he's speaking about it. In chapter 18 also he's going to speak about it. Why? Because the tendency is always to find fault. Please understand, finding fault is not an intention of blaming or anything. It is not able to understand word will have a limitation, instrument will have a limitation. Are you able to follow? All words have limitations. So it means any word that is said, you can find a fault in that word. Since the focus is on the word, what is missed? Word is a very poor carrier of what they are intending to say. Second is, action is a very poor carrier of what they are intending to communicate. And we look at these two and get carried away by these two and find fault in the knowledge. And what is finding fault in the knowledge means? Finding fault in the knowledge means because it doesn't suit you, you discard it. That is cavilling. You discard it because it doesn't suit you. What doesn't suit you? Either some word that is used is not suiting, or some action by the instrument is not suiting. Therefore, what happens? The person loses it. Now, he's talking about a unique category of people. Who are the unique category of people that he's talking about now? Those who come in contact and leave. He's not talking about the one who doesn't come at all. Because the fellow who doesn't come at all, what cavil he will do? He will not cavil. He will only say, Namo pesaranga purila, he will say, isn't it? These people are talking something and everything is going above the head. He will not cavil. Now, cavilling is a unique category. What is the unique category? Who will cavil? Those who come in contact and then leave. Why they leave? Because the word or the action. Word and action being limited by nature cannot communicate. Therefore, they cavil. Krishna is telling Arjuna, you don't belong to this category. Since you don't belong to this category, I am going to tell you again, even though you didn't ask us a question, I am going to say this again. I am going to say this again. What is the practice of not cavilling? What practice if you do that you will not cavil? That also he has already said. That also he has already said. Where did he say that? Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Verse number 34, chapter 4. What is the practice of how not to cavil? Tadviddi. Know that. By what? Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Arjuna, since you belong to this category, what is the category? Verse number 34 category. Verse number 34, chapter 4 category you belong to. Therefore, I am giving you again. He doesn't say again. The again is implied. I will give you knowledge and I will give you secret. So the first word that we studied is, what does cavil mean? I heard long back I'm trying to remember who said it. Cavilling means, he said, proofreader's attitude. Cavilling means proofreader's attitude. What is proofreader's attitude? What is proofreader's attitude? Proofreader's attitude is very clear. What? Find the fault. That is cavilling, he said. I'm trying to remember from where I heard this. Cavilling. Anasuya. Asuya, anasuya. Asuya comes from how can you be correct? That is anasuya. Asuya is how can you be correct? Because who is the only right person always in this planet? The only right person in this planet always is who? Punit. Of course, me, sir. Where is the problem? Yeah. So cavilling is how can somebody else be correct? That's all cavilling is. And how can Shastra can become a pramanam? Because if I have to accept it as a pramanam, I have to accept it as right. So pramanam means accepting it as right. You do not cavil, Arjuna. Since you do not cavil, since you do not belittle, I am talking to you this. I am speaking this to you. I am teaching you. What is the teaching? This is the teaching. Are you okay with the word anasuya now? Then we come to the beautiful two words. Knowledge and, it is knowledge and secret. Knowledge and wisdom is knowledge and secret. Knowledge is not secret. What is secret? The anubhava is secret. Secret means what? A very few are capable of understanding. This is a secret, Arjuna. Very few people who misunderstood this, they said it should not be given to everybody. Obviously, it should not be given to everybody. Unless the adhikaritvam is there, you don't give. So what the knowledge do? If you don't have the adhikaritvam, what it will do? It will give you practices to develop the adhikaritvam. No? You follow? Either it will speak to the qualified person. If that person is not qualified, what it will speak? Get qualified. So that is knowledge. What is secret? Either you are qualified and you will learn, or you will develop the qualifications and you will learn. Both are connected to knowledge. What is secret here then? Secret means that which is hidden. Secret means it is there. Secret means it is hidden. Secret means lot of digging is required. So we say, this fellow can keep the secret so much. You have to dig and find out, no? Isn't it? There are some people who you don't have to say anything. Clear? Like the FM radio, they themselves will start spreading the word around. We say, oh, don't trust this fellow. This fellow can't keep any secret. Now, what is keeping secret means you have to dig and dig and dig and find out. That is the secret. I am going to teach you knowledge and I am going to give you tools to dig. That's why it's a beautiful knowledge. Not only I am giving you knowledge, I am also going to give you tools by which you can dig and find out the secret. Knowledge is given, the tools are given. As we go along, we'll keep seeing the tools that is going to help us to dig. Okay, tool means what? Okay, who am I is one tool. Who am I is one tool to dig. That's what I said yesterday also. In passing, I said it, if you remember. Who am I is not a question. Who am I is a tool to negate. Similarly, so many tools he will be giving. And if you make effective use of these tools, what is secret now will be revealed to you. What is secret now will get revealed. What is secret? Brahman is secret. And what will get revealed? That Brahman, which is a secret, will get revealed. What is the indication that it is revealed? All sins will go. There will be no more sin. Sin pertains to mental agitations, and mental agitations pertains to your terms and conditions. Again, I repeat. Sin is mental agitations. Mental agitations is because of your terms and conditions. Wherever your terms and conditions are not met, wherever your terms and conditions are not fulfilled, you will get that mental agitation is called sin. When you have this knowledge and when you have dug so deeply, what will happen? You will be free from agitations. When you say you will be free from agitation means you will be free from no terms, no conditions. When you live life without any terms and conditions, that is moksha. That's what liberation is all about. No terms, no conditions. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva nasajjate. The wise one doesn't bother at all because he understands what gunas are functioning, instruments are functioning, and the instrument functioning, gunas functioning will follow its own, will experience its own consequence. What is there to bother about? What is there to worry about? What is there to get agitated about? You follow? Sin. Sin, mental agitation implies a lack of preparation. Mental agitation is a result of lack of preparation. What is the lack of preparation? Remember this example. You cannot avoid action. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya akarmakrit. Action is the insignia of life. You cannot be without action. But it causes tremendous agitations. So it is not the action that is causing agitation. Some preparation, some lack of preparation in relation to action is causing agitations. Some preparation is lacking. It is not action. If action is agitating, simply stop acting, we'll be all right. No. Isn't it? If a person is the problem, by getting rid of that person, you should have attained to moksha. No. But then you don't attain moksha. It means the problem is not that person. If a situation is the problem, getting away from that situation, isn't it? From Ranjini's breakfast to Naina's dinner. She's going to give me dinner now. I don't know what she's going to give. I forgot seeing food after coming here. I'm seeing only leaves. Only leaves only. That's all. Yeah, vegetables, there's no vegetable also. Only leaves I'm seeing all over the place. So, from Ranjini's breakfast to Naina's dinner, if Ranjini's breakfast is a problem, come here for dinner. If dinner here is a problem, go there for breakfast. It doesn't make any difference. Why? Because if that is the problem, leaving and going to another place, problem should have gotten solved. But then what do you understand? Just as that person is not the problem, the situation is also not the problem. You not having, lacking the preparation is the problem. What is lacking preparation? What is lacking preparation? I'm not able to see the wise man. I'm searching for the wise man here. Irkara, Venkat. Is the wise man here? So we have, no, they call this man a wise man. I don't know why they call him like that, but yeah. What is the preparation? What is the lack of preparation, wise man, in relation to action? Four. What is the four? You may get exactly what you want. You may get more than what you want. You may get less than what you want. You may get the opposite of what you want. As the doer, you can never know what you are going to get. Karmanyevadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. Ma karma pale heturbuhu ma te sangostva karmani. You are the doer, and the doer will not know of the four what is going to come. So agitation is, of the four you want one, of the four you do not want one. Of the four, what you always want? More than what I want. Bonus. Always bonus is good, no? And what is it that you don't want at all? The opposite of what you want. What is agitation? Agitation is a tension of not knowing what is going to come. This Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya takes away the mental agitation, means takes away the sin, means takes away this mental agitation. What is the mental agitation? The doer doesn't determine the result. Then who determines? Mahapaleshu kadachana, prasada buddhi. Whatever comes is accepted as the prasada buddhi. So this person will be free from sin, free from mental agitation, because that person has matured into prasada buddhi. Prasada buddhi means whatever comes is taken as the prasad. What is the definition of prasad? Whatever it is, you accept it gracefully, then only it is called prasad. If you say less salt, more salt, no, it is not prasad. If it is less salt, you are happy. If it is more salt, you are happy. No salt, again you are happy. That's why, at least I have two people in my family. There is one temple here they go. And without salt only they give. The prasad is made to the god without salt. Obviously, having gone to the temple, we have to eat that prasad only. So what will they do? They'll carry a little bit of salt with them. And then come out, add salt. Oh, prasad in this temple is very good, no? I said, where did you eat that prasad? You added salt and you corrupted it already. Whatever be it, you take it. That is called prasad. But then all human beings are in mental agitations. Why? Because whenever you are mentally agitated, you are called as a sinner. So if you are mentally disturbed, you will be called as a sinner. And that sin is because of what? Your terms and conditions not being fulfilled. Your hopes and expectations not being met by the other. The results of the action is not coming according to your terms and conditions. There is no fourth reason for mental agitation. This is the only. So anytime you are mentally agitated, you can see of the three where it is, what it is, and get out of it. Arjuna, you are a wonderful person. Why? Because you don't, you anasuya, and you are sinless. Since you have this quality of anasuya and sinless, I will teach you royal knowledge and royal secret. I will give you this knowledge and I will give you this secret. You are so, later on he's going to say, I'm giving you the secret because you are so dear to me, no, he says. Later on he's going to say, dear to me means what? Whoever has these qualities becomes dear. It means it's not Arjuna that is dear. Whoever has these two qualities, sinless and not cavilling, becomes dear to the divine. And to such a person, divine reveals itself. Wise man, purida? To such a person, divine reveals itself. Whoever has these two, not cavilling and sinless. I will teach this knowledge and I will teach this secret. I'm not going into the distinction of knowledge and wisdom just because we did it in chapter 7 only. And chapter 7 is not few years back, just a few months back. Punit, for your sake, I will do it again. Because you didn't hear that, no? Punit will say, no, sir, I didn't come that, so so how will I know that? So, the difference between knowledge and information, knowledge and wisdom is borrowed information is knowledge, digested information is wisdom. When it is borrowed, it is knowledge. When it is digested, it is wisdom. It is knowledge is like having food in hand. Wisdom is eaten, digested, distributed, evacuation, all that has happened. Are you able to understand the difference between knowledge and wisdom, Punit? That's all. So you can't say, sir, I don't know because I didn't come for that chapter. You can't. Because for anything I say, he's giving this argument. Oh, I didn't come, I didn't listen to that chapter, I didn't listen to this chapter. Knowledge is information. It's like food on hand. You see the food in hand, you understand what it is, but your hunger is not sorted out. Why? Because it's not digested. What is wisdom? The food is eaten, digested, distributed, all the wrong things have come out, and then you are in bliss. This is called Jnanam and Vijnanam. Vijnanam is digested knowledge which is yours. That which is yours, how much ever you try to explain it to another, you cannot. Why? Because it is so secret that the other cannot. It is very difficult for the other to understand. In that sense, it is a secret. Since you do not have this quality of cavilling and you are not an agitated person, Arjuna, you are qualified to listen to this. And what is the knowledge he is going to give? God with Nama Rupa Guna Karma, God with Nirguno Nishkriyo Nityo. That is the knowledge. What is the knowledge? He is going to talk about God. He is going to talk about divine. And talking about God and divine is the ultimate knowledge, ultimate secret. And how he is going to give that? He is going to give it in Saguna, and he is going to give it in Nirguna, and is going to give you tools to dig and have that experience. So he is going to talk about God with Saguna, and he is going to talk about God as Nirguna, and also he is going to give tools with which you can dig and find out for yourself. All that you got to do, Arjuna, is what? Simply listen to what I got to say. Because I'm giving you knowledge and I'm giving you secret. This is verse number 1, chapter 9. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with verse number 2 onwards in the next session. Do you have anything?
Yes, Bharat has posted it.
Oh, post pannirukkarana. Okay. Can you please provide the difference between clarification and finding fault? He is asking about cavilling, Anasuya. So, what is the difference between clarification and finding fault? Clarification, if it is sandwiched between two qualities, that is called clarification. Without those two qualities, if any question is asked, that is called finding fault. What are the two qualities? Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena seva. If this prashnena is sandwiched between these two qualities, pranipatena and seva, it means you are clarifying. Without any one of these, if any question is asked, that is known as finding fault. How can you say this as finding fault? I just want to know, sir. How can you call that as finding fault? It is not just to knowing. After that knowing, you will say it will not work. Finding fault means after listening to it, saying it doesn't work. Bharat, this is the difference. If pranipatena and seva is done, that pariprashnena is seeking clarification. When you seek clarification, the understanding is what? What you are saying is right. I am not able to understand. Elaborate. That is seeking clarification. Again, I repeat. This is called Shraddha. Seeking clarification means what? What you are saying is right. I am not able to understand. Can you elaborate it further? And then what the Guru will look at to answer at that point of time, what the Guru will look at. Is pranipatena happening? Is seva happening? If pranipatena and seva is not happening, that Guru will not venture into a further elaboration. Why? Because it is like rain in the desert. He will be explaining, but it's like rain in the desert. It will simply get washed over. Or it is raining in an unprepared field. There are two kinds of rain that is useless. One is an unprepared field. Another is in the desert. Prepared field, and if it rains, that's what growth is all about. And what is the preparation for the field? Pranipatena and seva. Pranipatena means prostration. Seva means, what is seva? Seva doesn't mean pressing the feet. Yeah, seva means what? Seva means what? A gratitude that you are willing to translate into action. That is seva. You have a gratitude, and that gratitude is put into action. And what is gratitude? I have said this any number of times. What is gratitude? Gratitude means anticipation. Service means anticipation. Service means you are anticipating the need and you are ready. That is service. You don't wait for the other to ask. That's why the service is wonderful. That anticipation is a sensitivity. In that sensitivity, knowledge it's like the prepared field. Knowledge simply soaks in. Are you able to understand now? What is seva? Seva is anticipation. Anticipation comes where there is identification. Just as the mother anticipates the hunger of the child and keeps the food ready. That is service. So why do we say mother? Not because she is cooking. The anticipation is what the mother is. Are you able to follow? So what is seva here? Seva means you are anticipating. Anticipation because of identification. Identification is because of gratitude. You go backwards. It becomes like that. So what is the difference between clarification and finding fault? Both are asking questions. Finding fault is also a kind of question, and clarification is also a kind of question. But what question is sandwiched with what? That makes the difference. What is the difference? If it is sandwiched with pranipatena and seva. Pranipatena means prostration. And prostration, we know the tradition, know how to prostrate? Prostration is not doing a forward bend, isn't it? Nowadays, prostration means you become a forward bend. That is not prostration. Ashta anga. All the limbs must be flat on the ground. It means what? It is a symbolic state. What is a symbolic state? All along, I am the authority for everything. Now, I have shifted the authority to you. You are the authority from now on. That is pranipatena. Bharat, are you able to follow? That is pranipatena. And seva means for that knowledge, you anticipate and you are ready to do. Mundakopanishad says, Samitpani. Mundakopanishad says, Samitpani. The boy didn't even find the guru. The boy doesn't even know who the guru is. Whether the guru will come or not, the boy doesn't know. But still the boy is ready with the faggot sticks. Meaning what? He is ready to, the anticipation and readiness to serve even before meeting the master. Beautiful is that Mundaka Upanishad, how the student prepares and go. Elaborating on that Samitpani, Avastamba Sutra elaborates it. What is that Samitpani? Just Samitpani, one word. Avastamba Sutra elaborates it so well, and finally comes, at least you should take a neem stick, he says. Avastamba says, at least when you are going to meet your guru, take a neem stick. Neem stick for what? Okay, modern day terminology, at least take a toothbrush. Because neem stick is a toothbrush. And you don't change your brush once in 3 months. You change your brush every day. And what do they do? Neem stick, you don't use the same stick next day, no. So what do they do? So the student carefully anticipates the need and goes. It's not the teaching has started. Even before the teaching has started, this person is ready. That readiness is called anasuya. Without the readiness, asking is a mere exercise of intelligence. It's a mere intelligent exercise. In Vedanta, we don't do this exercises of intelligences. That's why anybody who tries to get into this intelligent conversation, the guru says, go back, you have not understood. Bhajagovindam, 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 Mudamate, he will say. Wherever the student gets into the intelligence part of clarification, the guru immediately puts the person down by saying, Mudamate. You are a fool to come and ask such a question. Then who will ask? That's why the Upanishad tests the adhikaritvam. The Upanishad will test whether that person has developed the quality of pranipatena and seva. If the two isn't there, don't teach. Bharat, even though we would like to do that, we can't do all that now, no? If nobody is coming, yeah. If we start testing and teaching, Is it okay, Bharat? Did I help you?
Thank you, Guruji. So the root of both clarification and doubt was what I was referring
Yes.
to.
Yes.
And thankfully, I'm able to understand a little bit now. I'll have to do a little more of manana and then try and see
Yes.
how to do that. Very interesting, because you mentioned, that's the reason I wanted a clarification. You mentioned that the agitated mind
Yes.
impedes proper understanding
Yes.
of the subject. So when you say proper understanding is misunderstanding, not proper understanding is misunderstanding. So both,
Correct.
so it's a very thin line between the clarification, and that was
Yes.
what I was thinking, because
Yes.
normally people ask clarification when they are in a, wherein there's a misunderstanding
Correct.
of the fact.
Yes.
There is a,
Yes.
but the reason when we, the attitude of cavil is a little different, and what you're
Yes.
saying is probably very clear now.
Yeah.
The same time,
Yeah.
Guruji, the whole apps, the problem is that what I see in some of the cases is that it leads to too much of understanding, also leads to complete misunderstanding of
Correct.
certain things. And
Yes.
again, the fault comes, the entire understanding turns into a negative attitude of finding out that this is all
Yes.
very faulty. And,
Yes.
that is the whole issue. So it's a very
Yes.
vicious circle. And
It
the
is a vicious
clarification,
Yes.
and that is the
Because,
reason why I asked this question. Thank you so much.
yeah, because knowledge doesn't give clarity. All knowledge has doubt inherent with it. Knowledge is not simply knowledge. A knowledge gives you a clarity, and that clarity will bring a doubt. So all knowledges, as it is giving you clarity, along with knowledge comes a doubt. So doubt and asking clarification is an inherent part of learning process. And one thing that Vedanta is so unique is because if nobody asks question, it will pose question and start answering. Because that is the way knowledge gets, information gets transferred. But here he is not only interested in transferring the information, he wants the transformation of the personality also.
Yeah, correct. Exactly.
Yes, since he is seeking in transformation of the personality, there is something extra that has to be done. It can't be just like a university student asking a clarification, learning and walking out. Because their transformation is not sought. Here, information is not sought, transformation is sought. Since transformation is sought through information, it can't be just information as in a classroom. It has to be sandwiched with pranipatena and seva.
Correct. Pranipatena seva.
Pranipatena and seva is a conducive environment for information to get into transformation. That's why we insist. That's why when we say we insist means the Vedas, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita insist on these qualities. Is this okay, Bharat? Yeah. Venkat, avladhanla? Yeah. With this, we conclude for today and we continue from verse number 2 onwards next.